and welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm Ansony Sieh hosting. As always, we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. We have a special guest here in studio, comfortably seated right now, Mr. Acarous Moses Gray. That's Honorable Acarous Moses Gray is my guest here at Focus on Liberia. This is an exclusive one-on-one with Mr. Gray on multiple issues here at Focus on Liberia. Those of you who are just joining us, we will ask you to hit that share button, share the show with your contact as we go into this exclusive one-on-one with Mr. Acarous Moses Gray, representative of District Number 8, Montserrado County. He is also an executive of the Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change. They will say, well, at this time, without much ado, I will welcome Mr. Acarous Gray. Mr. Gray, Honorable Gray, welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm happy to have you, sir.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here. Today's session day, we just concluded a session a few minutes ago. So I'm excited that I'm on your all-important program. So maybe sometimes we'll get a little bit interrupted because my friends sometimes are in and out of the office. But it's great to be on your program.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. It's my pleasure having you, and we will certainly understand you are a busy man, and thank you for finding this time out of your busy schedule to come here and then talk about the issues that we have for you. Let's get started here. We don't want to waste time. Well, let me let my audience know, first of all, this is a one-on-one with Honorable Acarous Moses Gray, representative of District Number 8. The issues that we will be discussing, Mr. Gray visited his home county of Kidman recently. We saw that he was happy, but some people are suspecting something, a little bit of politics there. We will talk a little bit there. And there is this alleged travel restriction or visa denial of government officials by the U.S. government. Is that true? The news is filtering around so much. Mr. Gray, according to some individuals in the opposition circle, is one of those individuals who is affected by this visa denial. Is that true? He is here to clarify. We will also ask Honorable Gray on jobs creation as outlined in the proposed agenda for prosperity and development. Our understanding, according to the PAPD, is the government has promised to create around 1 million jobs within the first 6 years. How far they are, we want to know. The youths are looking for jobs. Also, the stimulus package. Some people call it the fiasco stimulus package. We're going to talk about how it got approved, the distribution and the accountability, because we heard the Senate is not happy with the report that has been given recently. Also, we will talk about the Code of Conduct of 2014. Luckily for us, our guest, Mr. Acarous Gray, based on my research, has a fingerprint on this particular important bill that was passed in the National Legislature. And finally, if we have some time, the CDC as a political party under the chairmanship of Mr. Mumba Molu. Wow, that is a laundry list, folks. This is why you have to be here. Some people call him the general. The tough talking Acarous Gray is here, and I will do my best to hold him here so that we can have an intellectual and also an informative discussion. Honorable Gray, let's get to it. But before I can roll in my first question, I have something to show you and tell me what that is. So, Gray, you went to Kidman. You met our mothers, if I can pull it that way, our sisters, because I saw some young ladies there too. What was going on? It seems to be that I saw you smiling. You were in their midst. What's going on? What are you up to in Kidman?
Basically, Grand Kidman County is my country of origin, like many Liberians who country of origin. Actually, I wasn't born in Grand Kidman County. I was born on Capitol Bypass. And then during my childhood days, I grew up in Kidman up to when I got promoted to second grade. And then I came back to Monrovia, and subsequently I went back Kidman again. I've been to Industrial Mission. In fact, I grew up in Tala Township in Grand Kidman County, called Switzerland or Polony. Okay, in the town there that has a very great history and town with the United States of America during World War II. My hometown was being used by the Americans to fly from Grand Kidman County. Many Liberians don't even know that. They used to use the Bali Island right across Providence Island. They had a base there before. And amphibious plane used to land Montserrat, similar to Grand Kidman on Lake Piso. So they had two military bases, one to my hometown and another one to another village area called Keba. You know, in Va, Ke mean war. So Ba mean big. So Keba is like the big war. So the Indians flew from my village into North Africa to fight the Germans. And the Germans were being led by General Romer Fox, that you call the Dead Fox. Okay, so Casablanca and Liberia were being used simultaneously to fight into North Africa. So that's where, that's my hometown. I went to school there up to second grade and then came back Monrovia. You know, in District 8, I went to 6 different schools in District. 2 advanced, beyond high school, and 4 at the high school level. So I went to Industrial Mission after that. That was established in 1882 by a group of missionaries. So, and I tried to learn my language, not because I was taught the language home, but because I learned from my friends. So yes,
how you doing with the language?
Yeah, I do speak that. I understand that.
How well, Mr. Gray? How well?
I own everything in VA. Okay. And I speak VA. I may not be like the indigenous ones. Okay, but yes, I do speak VA, and I understand almost everything in the language.
All right, that's good. That's a very good piece of history there, yes, talking about your
time. Basically, I saw the need to go and help our people. You know, many persons are going back to countries to help. Okay, I thought that generation upon generation, I'm going to keep my country. That's my personal belief, and I will no apology. Okay. The county is the 5th county in Liberia. By 1926, 24, 26, we became the 5th county. We got county status. Okay. Ravelsburg is very historic because it's named after Joseph Jenkins Ravels, the city. The story is told, in fact, that Joseph Jenkins Ravels and a few of the settlers landed in Ravelsburg, the swamp house where you saw me sitting with the little singing, sat on a cottage. According to the very older folks in the 90s, they said there were names on the cotton tree. In fact, there's some junior house monument that is there, but the rebels looted the monument. Okay, I think when they passed, remained there. So the cotton tree where I was sitting is very historical for Liberia. And after passing the bill on tourism, a concurrent bill by the House of Representatives and Liberian Senate that should be sent to the president for signature. I thought that Grand Cape County should be the beacon, the breadbasket in terms of tourism, the bastion for tourism in Liberia, with its geographic location, with the geographic features that we have, not just like Piso, but other very important area, the kind of animals we have, islands we have now on the Massatin Island. There's a story of a myth where people believe that Kitman has what we call the moving island. So we have a lot of things in Grand Cape County, too many things that we in Grand Cape County. We have very black lake, river, very black. Okay, we have many, many things. Share border with Sevedin, or beaches are very good, for example. Okay, the lake is very attractive. If you listen to the story of Lake Piso, actually quite Pinso, pigeon hole, was thought that by the studies, it was thought that the pigeons used to go near the water there, the lake, but then they go and drink, and then they make pigeon hole, and subsequently, year in year, expanded into a lake called Lake. But it's pins, meaning the whole of the pigeon hole.
Pigeon hole. Okay.
The Westerners call it Fisher's-Mill Lake. So we have a lot of things in Grand Cape County to see.
Certainly, Mr. Gray. Certainly, Honorable Gray.
So when I went there, when we passed the bill on tourism, I chose to go there because I know the history of my county. I've been to too many villages. When I was with my great-grandmother, Jean Gray, I come from a background of both indigenous and American. I'm one of those balanced characters in this country, both Liberian and indigenous background. We have that simultaneously. So we the great migrated from what we call Mando in Grand County. Okay, you go around there, all of surrounding villages and other things. In fact, Duado Bukiri from Kitman will introduce the first traditional writing in the history of the country. Also, so we have things to show to our people. We have artifacts that I've never been seen by too many. So I thought I could use the image. That's the very first thing, a very large audience, domestically, internationally, and we can sell our Grand Cape County to the world. So that's objective number one. So when I visited Grand Cape County, and I saw, I've always had a passion for academically helping people. Even before I got into politics, I taught for 9 years in total. I took care of more thousands of students. Every year now, less than 50, 60 kids who live with me, I tutor them for solid 9 years. Anyone were in high school and before graduating from SDA. So when I went, Rabosport precisely is not where I'm not from Rabosport.
Right.
And I interacted with the high school students. I saw that 34 students from St. John's, one of the best schools ever in the history of our country, private school, where some of the greatest leaders in the history of this country came from. And then Rabosport High School, the kids replaced out of school because of tuition, not much, very little tuition, that people were not there to help them. So I could take care of 35 of those kids that were really in need in terms of 12 graders, absolutely. Because you can't keep having them out of school and they're going to participate in the national exam, what you call WAS.
Was that in your plan, Honorable Gray? Was that in your plan when you were on your visit there?
Initially, it wasn't in my plan.
Okay.
But my interaction, the passion, I grew that passion. And the school fees was not that much, $2,750. So that day wasn't part of my plan. I gave $1,000 towards that. And I committed that subsequently to a payment plan, paid $1,700. I went back again, I gave another $1,000. The news went across the county, across especially Rabosport. Different groups chose to meet me. So I went to Fantitan before the president arrived. We were in Rabosport called Fantitan. And then I went to Cruton, another area called Cruton, heavily densely populated. So they wanted part of ours. So I told them, consider it done. I would take full responsibility. It doesn't matter what it costs. I would do 2 part of ours. Then I met with the boys, pen drivers, the motorcyclists. Yeah. Okay, I met and they wanted to do something with the place they had. I gave them some money. I met with some Grand Cape man, some university students. They wanted transportation. to go to the Sieh College. So I also gave them like $300. And then we talked to the people. So the last visit I went on was to ensure that some of the pledges that I made to fulfill those pledges.
To fulfill the pledges that you made. Okay.
Yeah, so we got some materials for the construction of the two Palawa. Today, between today and tomorrow, I should be sending 150,000 Liberian dollars to the women that you saw sinking she's dead for the women in Rawa Sport. So I told them it's between $800 to $900 you're talking about. So I'm going to send that money to them tomorrow, because now the day is almost over. And I subsequently, I will be going to part of Grand Cape County. I believe that we are in the best position as Cape Martinians administration, especially after Grand Cape County provided one of the highest votes comparatively to this administration. I think it's incumbent upon us as leaders and as people from the CDC who are from Grand Cape County to do everything that we can to see some semblance of electricity, and to also see that our route leading to Rawa Sport should be paved. So we have that mandate and we should fight. It may not be completed now, but at least let's jumpstart that. Let's identify the funding. I feel insulted and I feel incomplete and unaccomplished if we do not fight for the role between Rawa Sport to be paved. Everybody will be going to Rawa Sport for tourism.
Thank you, Honorable Gray.
People can do it in power and we can do that.
Thank you, Honorable Gray. We have a lot to get to, but on the trip also, I saw you posted a fish that is, I think it's a pipe that I saw, and I saw you on the beach also. Do you like to eat fish, my man?
I'm from Grand Cape, man. In fact, you will be surprised. At the age of 9, I have my own kennel.
You have your own kennel?
Yeah, at the age of 9.
I was with my dad at the age of 9. We used to go on the sea to fishing. I'm a fisherman. You're looking at
yeah, I can tell you that I used to go on the piece of my great grandfather to also fishing.
Okay.
So I have to pull my own kennel. Maybe now I still have the skills to do that. In fact, I met that spot that you saw me to is the best surfing area in Liberia, entire West Africa, not just Liberia. And they went represented Liberia and came second in West Africa. You know, things are not been so good with him, so I decided I would take full responsibility, look for employment for him, and trying to just structure him. And I want to help the Surfing Association of Liberia. They've sent an article in incorporation, and I think they should be placed under the Liberia, the Ministry of Youth and Sports as a federation, like Liberia Basketball.
Thank you, Honorable Gray.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable
So my
Gray.
mission was not political, but people are translating it into something being political because I'm a politician.
And I'm still gonna ask my political question on that. You know, you are a political actor. We saw Edwin Snow walking that same walk gradually in Bombay, and today he is senator, and that is your home county. And what you're doing now, I'm not sure if you are doing as much as you're trying to do now. From what I heard from you, you want to do more. And so when you are a political actor, people tend to suspect something else. Can you clear the air that Acarous Moses Gray is now in Kidman trying to assist because of any political ambition that he may be thinking about soon? Vanish Shema may not be favorable there now. Are you not airing that seat, Mr. Gray?
Let me say absolutely to you that I have no interest in contesting the senatorial seat in Grand County. I think it would be unfair to the people. That will be imposition upon the county. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I don't come from Rawa Sport. Mm-hmm. If I should have any interest to contest any seat, it should be from Tala Township, where we have our properties, where I grew up, where I'm better known, for example. Okay, so my objective to help my people is out of my passion.
All right. So great, we have a lot to get to. You answer my question. You said you have no interest. I'm going to hold you by your word. So conclude on that.
I don't want to be a senator of Grand Cape County.
All right.
The councilor chairman will run. Mm-hmm. I know other people will run. I know my friend Kiazolo in the House of Representatives has a desire. Mm-hmm. I have had no desire to contest senatorial race
All right,
in
we'll
Grand
take
Cape
it.
County.
So, Mr. Gray, can we take that to the bank? You're always talking about taking it to the bank. Can I take that to that bank?
Let me repeat, 2023, I have no intention to contest for the senatorial seat in Grand Cape County.
All right, thank you, Honorable Gray. Let's roll in something here quickly. Folks who are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. I'm Ansony Sieh hosting. My guest, Honorable Acarous Moses Gray, representing District Number 8, Montserrado County, and he is also an executive of CDC. Mr. Gray, this news has been around for some time now. It's being alleged that there is some form of restriction on some government officials. You have ears in the government, you are connected. There's this visa denial, they say, and they also went as far as saying you are coming to the state and you have been denied a visa. Do you want to come clean on this?
Every time when, like I said, when stories are finished, when you don't have the kind of professionalism and you live on gossip or your own fairy, it's a dangerous thing for the media landscape or the social network in our country. I know there are people who are desperate, believing that there should be some restriction or on the government, not just on individuals. They've made that very clear. And they believe that with the kind of rumor they brought up, the United States government will put travel ban or restriction on this government or sanction or government officials. And they realize that it's not the case. So they try to create stories, individuals. Let me make it emphatically clear.
Okay.
First, I've not been to the United States of America for like a year now. I saw someone posted that I went to the United States of America in March of last year to celebrate my daughter's birthday. I didn't go to America last year, March, because I was in Ghana along with the late Muna Penn and Youngblood, Edwin Bevin Snow, Clarence McCoy from the Unity Party, the Deputy Speaker position, Cook from Nimma County, Dopu, also from the Unity Party. We went on an assessment program in Ghana. And that assessment program had to do with the APM terminal, okay, and understanding how Ghana managed in terms of their port revenue generation.
Okay.
So when I arrived in Ghana on the 16th of March of last year, March 16, I departed Ghana with the last flight that came to Liberia on March 21st. And the Liberian government, in less than 48 hours, closed the airport. There were no commercial flight coming in Liberia because of the corona, no going out between the 21st to the 23rd, because my daughter birthday on the 23rd. I saw to say you are in America on the 23rd. So you should be correcting the people that Liberia, no commercial flight coming in and leaving Liberia when the airport was closed between the 21st to the 23rd of March. And so the US embassy closed. So they could not have given individual visa, and there were no commercial flight. I know subsequently the United States had the evacuation flight. My family was very interested in the year with me. I remember they left in June, and then Henry Costa went and posted that I've taken on the airport that I was leaving Liberia with the corona situation in the month of June. So it's not a strange thing to the post that Representative Gray, I don't know where they get that story from, but standing with the United States is bigger than ordinary that people think. We don't come and chest beat or shout about things. Okay, when we were going to America, Costa was not in America, economic migrant. Okay, I'm not escaping anything. Never been an economic migrant. I'm not there to go for marriage to get status and stay in America. I've been in America many times. Okay, for family there. If I wanted to become an American citizen, what I become? Maybe you know my story better than a lot of people. Maybe you've done your own research. I've never sought even for a permanent residence in the United States of America like other people. It's my right. It's my privilege from parental background. Okay, I was said, okay, then let me get married to get status too, beside parental background. But no, I didn't do that. So at no point in time the United States Embassy, in fact, the embassy has not been open. So how do you go for visiting visa? I think they just open visiting visa maybe
Well,
this
the
month.
information, Honorable Gray, is that you tried to get visa this March, this gone March,
That's
to
what I'm
come for
saying.
a,
No,
yeah,
but
my understanding is that either your brother is graduating and
no,
that
they
you made
said to
effort
come
to
for my
obtain a visa
daughter.
to come.
No, they said
Huh?
to come for my daughter boyfriend. That's what I saw. That's what I read. But my
Oh,
boyfriend is
okay.
March there. So it's not possible. How would I be
Okay.
stupid to go to the embassy for visiting visa when they're not giving visiting visa? Except I think of late the embassy has been. You need to check your record. The embassy is giving visa on special situation. For example, health issue, for example, I know somebody, okay, it has been special. I think they just to the public board, they got a lot of restriction. So to even argue that I went for a visa to the United States Embassy because somebody was saying I went there February or early March, it's unfortunate the embassy was not open to the public.
So,
So
Honorable
I
Gray,
think
you have not been denied visa. Is that right?
it's not possible. I've never been denied a United
So
States
I want
visa.
you to also clarify some information, Mr. Gray. Besides you, they are saying the information filtering in also saying there are other officials of government that have been denied visa. You are a power player in the current administration. You hear a lot of things that we in the media don't hear. So please do us justice here. We heard about Chief Justice Popo being denied visa. Any knowledge of that? We heard also that Sir Joseph being denied visa. Any knowledge of that?
So, like I said, will speak for themselves better than I do.
Mhm.
But what I do know is that I'm not aware the Chief Justice being denied visa. I'm not aware.
Okay.
I'm not aware of such being denied visa. I'm not aware of that. Okay, because I know the United States go up to the embassy once there's an official program, state to state interaction. I'm not talking about like Acarous want to go visit or
Right.
somebody want to go for look of family, I mean state to state interaction. You got to be careful. There's state to state interaction. When you are going on an official visit and you are denied, the embassy is under obligation to provide reasons why you are denied. And they will provide that reason. They won't have that reason. Okay. So if this you add that that's the Chief Justice you're talking about the country. Why would the Chief Justice be denied? For what?
Are you
Was he going for
suggesting that the U.S. does not have the power to deny anybody at their own
They
choosing a
have no,
visa? And to
they
add to
have
that, Honorable Gray, we also heard that the vice president was making effort to come to the U.S. and she got denied as well.
no. What I can say to you for the
Mhm.
vice president issue, there have been some issues maybe because
Okay.
of the Taylor link before. Even when we came to power,
Right.
there have been some consensus issues in race. Okay, so the Americans have their own way, but they will make known to the individual in questions.
Mhm.
But what we're trying to make it to appear, if to say, they denying government officials because there's this travel ban, people are corrupt.
That is
Let's
the
look at it.
story out there, Mr. Gray.
No,
That
no,
is the
let's
story
look at,
out there.
let's
And
look
the
at,
story
no,
out there, let me put it to you. The story out there is that the CDC government is being considered as a corrupt government, and the US government, according to the information, has made a determination that the only way they can control or restrain government officials from participating in massive corruption is to just deny their visa to not leave the country, and maybe they will come to their senses. That's the information out there. Can you clarify this?
that information is baseless. When they restricted Council of Vice Chairman,
Mhm.
they didn't particularly clear to the public. They didn't have, but so if you're restricting the chief justice of the country on the
Mhm.
basis of corruption, the Americans would
Okay.
not have that. Okay, if you're restricting Representative Gray because of corruption, okay, there's no evidence. I never been found guilty before in Liberia. So that's not possible. Okay. Sometimes I look at people, you think that it's just ordinarily somebody will say they will restrict the president. You're talking about state to state interaction. You don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. And people need to be educated. People don't even know that somebody will look at Acarous and say they put travel restriction on him as if to say Acarous is a criminal, as if to say Acarous killed him or be in the country, Acarous stole money, running to America with it. You know, that for me, that's trash. I think they don't have a story. They don't have a story to tell. And the best thing to do is that if they have any source who is misinforming them, okay, they have to counter check source. Because the very last time, you see, this is the passport I use. Use a diplomatic passport to deny you see the stem of the passport, the stem in it. Okay, you know when they deny people. I don't have no reason to show you my passport. This is my passport. You see here? You see the trips I've made. Okay, that's the diplomatic passport I'm talking about. Okay, the last trip I made was in Rwanda. Or in Kenya. That's the last trip. Okay, this year. The other trip, you see, and I deny it. Okay. People just talk because they want to talk.
All right, Mr. Gray, thank you.
They just talk because they want to talk. I carry European visa as I speak to you now. Okay, if I want to go to America, and the embassy is open, I've never been denied. Okay,
thank you.
But the issue, the fact of the matter here is that people should understand that the embassy has been closed for visiting visa for a very long time. So when you talk about denying people on visiting visa, you need to call the embassy when they open to get visiting visa. Or ask all the Liberians that wanted to travel to America on visiting visa, ask them. Sometimes I think they said they give them up to next month or something like that. Okay, I think they just open up to the public. So it's fallacious for people
Mr.
to
Gray,
argue.
do you any intention to travel to the US soon to see your family?
My family will be coming down very soon.
Why you don't want to come over? I understand there's something with one of your family members.
We have a routine where I want to talk about we have a routine where we visit each other and they come down to visit me.
But earlier you told me they were down recently, so maybe it's your turn to go now. Why are you not going?
No, that was last year. Okay, last year. That was last year. You know, that's where they reside. Okay, that was last year. That's where they reside. I could not have come to America because they were not giving visiting visa. Okay, so I'm not a resident of the United States. I don't have a green card. I don't have citizenship. Someone claimed that I even have citizenship for America. The last time, no, I don't have a citizenship. So, and the embassy had not been open. But usually when school closed, you know the time that school closed in America most of the time. So my family come down usually during the break, to spend the break with me. Yeah.
All right.
So don't follow the people gossiping. They even know what they're saying. Okay.
Thank you.
They're so naive that an Acarous will be denied by the U.S. embassy. For the Mustang in America bigger than many people are living there. Very big.
Thank you.
But many persons are living there. Some of them are hustling document. Some people you have to go marry fake marriage before you get document. And you're talking about Acarous Gray going to America and they deny. If I want to go to America in 1 or 2 weeks, if that's my desire to go, I'll go to the embassy, give me a visa, and I will travel.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's leave it there and let's come to our next issue here. Mr. Gray, you know, the issue of jobs is key, especially for a country like Liberia. We know the population there is mostly youthful. Your party, the CDC, is in power today because of the youth population. And so in your wisdom, Honorable Gray, as a party, your propose agenda for prosperity and development, you say, hey, we're going to create 1 million jobs in 6 years. So I want to know, how is this going for you as a party, as a government, on the job creation? How many jobs have been created so far?
The first thing, I'm not deceptive to come and tell you that we've created 500,000 jobs or created 300,000 jobs. I know there have been changes. Okay, with the Department of Home for Liberia, for example, a lot of people who were working got other jobs. For example, I know the rural rehabilitation and rural construction and other projects, the low-income homes, I provided some jobs, not permanent jobs, for example, because when you finish building the road, you may not have that job. Yeah, jobs have been created. I know as I speak to you currently, we are now on the front line of a lot of concession agreements that will be coming, that will jumpstart the process. Okay, the agricultural revolution, the president is very concerned about that to create more opportunities for our people. So this is the mark. And I want to be as fair as I can be to you on this program today.
Okay.
I think the economists, those in that area will speak better than I will have that authority to speak on that. In terms
do you
of the
think they are
number.
doing a good job, Mr. Gray?
Look, I think the Minister of Finance, for example, the Minister of Finance, it has doubled up. There were some challenges. I've flagged the issue of some challenges before.
I was about to point that out. You were not satisfied with the performance of the economy, and you call on the finance minister to do better. Is he doing better now, in your opinion?
No, I asked the finance minister to interact with other heads in the business. People went there before, other economists, and the finance minister opened up drastically. There have been some I know we have some people are taking paid on time now, regular. For example, I'm going to change the old bank note on the market, for example. Am I satisfied about that?
Mr. Gray, this paying people on time is not an achievement. Why are you people always making mention of that?
I will tell
people
you
have
why.
to take pay anyway because they work, right?
No, I will tell you why. People will have to take. But when we talk about a big challenge, money, economy, there was high inflation. You know about that. Very high inflation, where the US dollar against the Liberian dollar was like 200 Liberian dollars to single United States dollar.
So you printed $4 billion to correct that. Is that not corrected yet?
No, excuse me. It was not to the essence of that money was very necessary by our international partners. The concern here now is change the entire money on the market and bring a new family of money. That's the intent. The money is now in the banking sector, as I speak to you, with all the money that should be circulating. They're now in the banking sector. There are mechanisms, because in fact, we look at the central bank and we provide.
Mr. Gray, how can we be sure? I don't mean to interrupt you. How can we be sure this order printing going to correct these challenges that the financial market is facing? Because the 16 billion was intended to solve some of the problem. It didn't happen. And then the 4 billion, and now we're talking about 48. How can Liberian trust this printing of money as one of the solutions to this problem?
I like one of the solutions, and the selection of your addiction, one of the solutions. Indeed, is one of the solutions. Should we digitize our economy, especially in terms of the issue of our banking sector, transaction, for example? Yes, obviously. That's another step in helping to address the situation in Liberia. Because like you said, do we have laws when people keep money to their homes? What action do we take? Do we have laws for that? No, we don't really. But people have been arguing that it could be on our economic sabotage. So all of these things we are gradually. Okay, we are very convinced that we need to digitize our economy. For Kenya, for example, when I visited Kenya, that's one of the ideas we brought back to the country. Even a market, in the market, I said in Bedable with a cell phone. Okay, automatically don't need the money. Physical cash. In a great analysis that you reside in, when somebody say this man is $10 billion rich, physical cash, just go get that physical cash from the bank automatically. Are there some restrictions? For example, is there physical money laying $10 billion? Just imagine if everyone decided to go and withdraw their money from, or billions decided to withdraw their money from the banking sectors in the United States of America. Guess what will happen? I just wanted you to give me a meaning. This call is very important. Just a meaning. Just a meaning, please. Yeah, you know, in my office, like I said it.
Yeah, do that. All right, folks, watching us here that focus on Liberia. I'm Ansony Sieh hosting. As you may be aware, Acarous Moses Gray, representative of District Number 8, Montserrat County, and executive of CDC, is my guest. And there is a one-on-one interview with him on multiple topics here. And if you have just joined us, we want to say thank you for joining the broadcast. So he's making a call. Why he does that? Let me see if I can roll in some comments as we wait for Honorable Gray. Let me hear from Prince Deba really wanted to be a part of this discussion, boss. All Liberian people with their boss business. Let's hear from Patrick Kula, Honorable Gray. I saw my cousin Lasana B. Sanon in the video. All right, Honorable Gray is back with us. Welcome back, Honorable Gray. I was trying to read some comments while I was waiting for you. So you can continue with what you were saying. And let me add something to that. You said, there are other sources of financial transaction. You talk about Kenya, you talk about the US. That way, people don't play with the money too much. And I understand that. It's because it's mostly like everybody touching the cash or touching the money in Liberia. And sometimes because the money is not that durable enough, and Liberia, it rains a lot and the dust is too much. So tell me more about the efforts that have been made to reduce Liberians touching the money physically, going digital and other means of financial transaction. What efforts have been done so far?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. In fact, now in Liberia, many of the renowned businesses,
right,
restaurants, you can carry your card, you eat, and you can swap, okay, and you can pay. Okay, we do that even at many stores, like building material stores, for example, like supermarkets, for example. Today we have mobile in Liberia.
Mobile money is picking up.
Mobile. Now, it's not just to go and collect the money also, but you can transact. That means you can buy. Okay, you can go and buy food if you want. If you went to a restaurant, for example, if you went to a bar, for example. So it's a gradual process that we are going through. So now we've given the central bank the authority, in fact, okay, that after every 3 years, the central bank could come back to the legislature to take some actions on our money issue. Okay, we're giving that authority to the Bank of the Republic of Liberia. So Kenya is a very good example in Africa. Okay, an extremely good example. Are we in discussion? Are we holding conversation for such arrangement to come to Liberia? Yes. I know there are Liberians. I don't want to jumpstart there. I know some young progressive Liberians apply to the central bank and they want to bring in some machines, for example, so that people cannot go out of money. You could take pay, for example, instead of getting the physical cash from the bank, you can use your phone to purchase what you want to purchase. So, but until we decentralize that at the other market area, okay, like in Kenya, etc., in that program they have, I think we will have to go that route. But for example, the diamond mines, for example, the gold mines, for example, people take the money and carry it on the gold mine, the diamond mine. They got people doing that business. It's not only foreign investors. So they take the money right there and they circulate the money right there and pay the people because there are no banking sectors in those areas. Okay, some people take the Liberian dollars, they hold it at a point in time. Okay, so there can be scarcity to make more profit. Some people hold the United States dollars, for example. What policy are we put into play? We've been working with the central bank on that a whole lot. That's why you see for the last 6 to 8 months, the House of Representatives established what we call the Economic Recovery Team in the House of Representatives, working behind the scene a whole lot with the central bank, with other institutions. In fact, we invited all the banking institutions in Liberia, the leadership, to 1 or 2 meetings, even before we even agree to print the money. So there were a lot of things happening behind the scene. So people say, oh, they didn't hold public hearing. Oh, they didn't do that. No, we print the issue. Bankers will tell you, or the economists will tell you, it's a national security issue. You can't just jump on and say, we're bringing $10 billion on the market tomorrow morning, for example. You can't say that. It's a national security issue. Or decide that tomorrow morning, the money they keep in home, it could be stolen money. It could be part of the $16 billion from the past administration. They could rush to the bank with it. So when this money comes to the country, for example, question could be asked by the other people. Where did you take $1 billion? Did you take 200 million?
Gray, the national security concern that you are expressing, that is why some people are saying, why not put all of these measures into place, before printing this money, so that when the money is being brought in.
The
Okay.
measures are put into place, but you don't have to announce what you're going to do.
Okay.
No, that's
So
what
we have measures in place now,
they
solid
have
enough to safeguard any foul play with the printing and transportation of this money?
no, but you know the thing is that look, Sieh, we gotta be we gotta be truthful to ourselves. $16 billion was not printed under this administration. You know, and
No,
I know
I
very
didn't
well.
raise the issue of 16 billion.
No,
I'm
no, no,
tired of
no. I
talking about
just want to
16
tell you,
billion.
no, because the $16 billion brought all of these concerns.
Mm-hmm.
90+% of the $16 billion was brought in under the past administration. Was there measures? They were not even approved by the legislature. 10 billion of that money was never approved by the legislature. They dumped that money into the market, into the economy before we took power. And initially, that's one of the reasons for which the then central bank had to resign, because they did not provide a full briefing to the president in the briefing note, take over note, in terms of the amount of money that was printed whatsoever. Okay, that's why he had to resign, because there was no clear-cut briefing. That they didn't have to say it until it was discovered, until there was the high inflation. And some others said, one of the earlier administration will remember they brought some money. They brought some like money to national housing and saving to keep there. We saw people with money, people bringing money, people even saying people brought money in continual trade. They duplicated the money, okay, and all of those things.
But
So,
Omar Gray, if you want to go to the
what-
16 billion, let me interject here. If you want to go to the 16 billion, your government, I can say, implicated itself with multiple information coming from your ranks and file. For example, Honorable Eugene Namwe was on record for floating the idea that money was being printed in China and all. This is the Minister of Information that provided that information.
The minister information, information was not that. When the minister said money was being printed in other countries from what he was gathering,
Right.
okay, that didn't presuppose that it was our administration that printed the money or that was printing the money. Okay, so I don't think the minister was in error when they gathered that some of the countries they thought by the information they gathered where the money was being printed under the past administration. So he didn't indict the current administration for money. I know we printed $4 billion, 3, 4, talk about the IMF, even the US embassies and other diplomatic enclaves, the $4 billion that were printed, okay, to help get some of the multilateral bank notes up. The report submitted to the Liberian Senate. I think you heard about that on the $4 billion because that was one of the preconditions, okay, on agreeing on the resolution. To print.
I followed the 4 billion issue, and you are on record, Honorable Gray, for saying that you people needed to pay the money, print the money because salaries needed to be paid. You said that, Honorable Gray. Do you remember that?
Let me say this to you. I'm on record very clear. I think I make it very explicit. I mean by that. The first thing for us, Sieh, is that too many mid-to-later money was on the market. People were rejecting the mid-to-later banknotes. Do you pay civil servants, okay, with the mid-to-later banknotes, or do you take it off the market and infuse the $4 billion there? Our international partners agree with us that there was a need. Some of the things about the shortage of the money was many of the money was mid-to-later. Nobody was accepting it. You couldn't accept it. Stolen money. You know, they got tier money, for example. If you pay people with that money, still being on the market, women would not even accept it from you. Banking institutions were rejecting that money and still paying people the money. So looking at our international partner, looking at the monetary arrangement of our country with the IMF and other people, they said there was a need. So one of the major objectives $4 billion was to take out the mid-to-later banknotes. You may not take all of the mid-to-later banknotes, but it is no more and infuse a new set of money, okay, the same money, but new ones into the banking sector so that we cannot be rejecting the money so that we cannot order the money. So it's a brilliant economic aid for taking off mid-to-later banknote and bringing in a new printed banknote. That was the strategy, clear cut. So civils are going to be paid, right? So they pay civil servant and they cannot get the money and they're rejecting the money. For example, if I went to the bank and the bank gave to me mid-to-later banknotes, I'm not going to accept that money. So how do I feed my family? Okay, now they were exclusively intended to win, but indirectly, once the bank knows are taken off the market, people will be paid.
Thank you, Mr.
And that
Gray.
money will be used in the process.
Two issue on the printing money, then we'll go back to the job thing there. You didn't give me much. Job is key. I know.
I told you exactly. I will.
Yeah, but let me bring in my final question on this money thing, and then you can come to that. We learned as well that when the 4 billion was printed, I think the government of Liberia, your government, had owed around $65 million to the commercial bank. And please correct me because I'm not too firm on this information. And that when you printed the money, the 4 billion, that you had owed the commercial banks somewhere around 65 million United States dollars. That was the money. It was reported that you, the CDC government or the Liberian government, had owed the financial banks or the commercial banks. So when the 4 billion was printed and brought in, you took some of that 4 billion, it was reported, and then you paid the commercial banks up. Is that true?
It's crazy to say so, because the money you're talking about, all the commercial banks are usually United States dollars. It's very crazy to say so, not like Liberian dollars. The money that we owe goes to the LBDR, for example. You know, that money, okay, because when we initially passed the budget, it was like 10 point something million, then it went up to $20 million later on. And one of the major objectives was to ensure that the debt that we owe, okay, I'm talking about US dollars, budget being passed, okay, that the money we owe, some of the money we owe institutions, like LBDR, for example, that debt should be paid, some of the money should be paid, because these are preconditions that we're credible in the international community to receive certain funding.
So have you paid them?
Yeah, we pay some of the money. Not even by $1 billion. I'm talking about just the supplementary budget that we recently passed. Not less than 10 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, so anybody saying that to you is a gossip.
All right. So my final question on the money, Honorable Gray, we have a lot of issues to get to. Yeah, my final issue on the money here, or question on the money. There has been this accusation against you lawmakers of always getting kickback for approving the printing of money. For example, Philibert Brown was on record, and your memory, I'm sure, is fresh on this one. He accused this legislature when the whole 16 billion thing came. He said, you guys have received money and that you were even promised to be giving some campaign money. And that's how come you gave the authorization. So almost like every money that's been printed, there's this accusation, this finger pointing at you legislators that you always take money before you make that authorization. Can you clear this for the Liberian people listening to you today?
The Philibert Brown report was outrageous. I know that had to do with the $16 billion. Okay, now the $16 billion came under two different arrangements under President Sieh administration. The first resolution was $5 billion, $5 billion. And that money is part of what you call the $16 billion. Also, there was a resolution, but in that resolution by the House Representative, I want to speak for the House Representative, last administration, I'm not talking about now, under the last administration.
Yeah.
That resolution said to the Senate, go and do all of your analysis and come back to the legislature for final approval to print the money. Instead of the central bank coming to the legislature to proceed with the printing of the money, they carved their own resolution and proceeded. If you listen to the public by the current House of Representatives on that amount of money, they didn't get the approval of the legislature. Let me repeat. On the excess printing of over $10 billion under the Sieh administration, there was no approval by the legislature. Took that money up to $16 billion. Let me repeat. The legislature, so unless Senator Brown, that I had a lot of respect for, sometimes I disagree with him, I think they didn't have the facts that the legislature had not approved under the administration the printing of excess 10 to $11 billion. When the report came up, when you listen to the hearing, you follow the debate, it's established that the legislature did not give that sole authority to the central bank to print extra $10 billion. This administration corrected that. So I didn't sound.
Yeah, but that was the official position of the CDC administration. But the folks in the city administration continue to make the argument that they got authorization. How they try to explain it. But Honorable Gray, I want to come to Brown. You said the allegation that he made against members of the legislature was completely outrageous. So they meant malign your character, talking about all of you legislators of taking money for printing money.
No.
Okay, some of you, and now he's a free man. The last time I saw him, he was with President Weah, and this guy went and said some things outrageous, and you were now holding accountable for those things he said?
No. I will say this to you, and you should have followed it. He accused Jeremiah Cohn. He accused Jeremiah Cohn, who is senator today. He accused the deputy speaker, who is also a senator today, Prince Moy from Bon County.
Prince Moy, yeah.
And they're talking to court. They're talking to court. You remember that he left the country, he fled the country.
He left the country, he fled, and he came back.
Okay. So at the end of the day, at the end of the day, they settled the other court. I know that for sure. At the end of the day, that matter was settled under the court. You know, when people go after you, journalists, for example, somebody jump and say, Acarous case, someone. Okay, you malign his character. For example, you say Acarous is a thief, and you take a journalist to court, for example, you see everyone will come and start talking, you freedom of speech and all of those things. At the end of the day, the facts were being established. Let's get this clear. That there was no resolution passed this legislature or a carte blanche resolution giving that authority to the central bank to print extra $10 that took that money up to 60 with the first 5. There was a resolution for the $5 billion, concluded resolution, final approval for the first $5 billion, but the rest of the money leading to the $16 billion on the president said the House Representative Nolly Labrin through a plenary decision provided that approval. And it's clear, when weeks appear before the House Representative, I remember that very well. Okay, and other partners appear. Very clear. That is true. They carved their own resolution and acted on their resolution.
So, Honorable Acarous Moses Gray has never taken a brown envelope before giving authorization for the printing of any money in Liberia?
No, but the first signed that resolution. That's the very first thing. No, that resolution, I didn't sign the resolution of the $10 billion. I'm not talking about
you didn't vote for it?
No, I didn't sign it.
Okay.
There must be a resolution. But under this administration, $1 billion, I signed the resolution.
You signed the resolution.
For the $48 billion, I also signed the resolution. And in fact, I've been in the van for the passage. So yes, I signed the 2 resolutions for the printing of the $4 billion under this administration. And for the
so Honorable Gray, yeah, thank you. Let's touch on the jobs business a little bit. This is key. And again, let me remind you that CDC is in power today.
I just wanted to make this very clear. I want to make this point clear before you go further.
Okay, do so, sir.
This administration, $16 billion they're talking about, nothing less than 6% came when we took. The rest of the money came under President Sieh's administration. Let me say this. I see people saying that this government received $16 billion. It's fallacious. The records are there when the money came into the country. The breakdown for LRA, everything, the year, the month, whatsoever, when they put in for it, everything will be public. So nobody should ever make a mistake that this government received $16 billion. It's fallacious.
So clearly, Honorable Gray, let me get a very short answer, if you may, here. On the 16 billion, I know you were talking to me about the Crow report and all that. Are you sure that nothing went wrong with that money? And according to the central bank governor, Nat Petrie, all the money was received and logged into the central bank vault. Is that accurate to your knowledge? The 16 billion.
No.
Just briefly, sir.
What I want to say to you, okay, what I simply say to you is that or if the central bank governor on our administration saw the documents that the money came into the country,
Right.
and yes, placed the money into the VOR or the place in other areas. Okay, how much we made there was very clear. The operational funds of the Republic of Liberia, we invited the central bank governor who made $5 million with some Liberians in the VOR. In our reserve or foreign reserve is different from the operational funding because the foreign reserve is in there.
It's in you,
Or
yeah.
country foreign reserve, which you are holding cognizant of. Okay. So we had to pay civil servants. We had to give funding, for example, less than $23 million of fund. So I can say to you safely that the final repayment excess amount of money is the 10 point something billion that was excess money that was printed. And that led to the court action. I think excess $2 billion or 2 point something billion dollars. And that led to the court action. So I can say to you clearly, this administration, it will have anything to hide. Like some people say, well, the president took the money to your house. The president will not have invited international credible institutions.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
America to investigate the matter because they look into the $15 billion, they look into the $25 million, the report came, but they did not just investigate the $16 billion, they also investigated. So if President Weah was shielding anybody in government who will not invite credible international United States institution to independently. Opposition said they did not trust the GSC. But guess what? They argued when the crowd came up, questioned the report by the international partner and endorsed the GSC report and started running with the GSC report on the $25 million.
All right, Mr. Gray, thank you. I will take that.
You didn't trust the local institution. You say you trusted the international institution. We should have hands up. Then they gave a report. No, not this government. But because you wanted this government to be found guilty, you say, okay, the report not credible. Which crew?
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you,
but you wanted them and you asked for that.
Thank you, Honorable Gray. I know earlier when I asked about, the creation of jobs for unemployed youth, mostly, you told me clearly you don't have numbers to give me, and I understand.
Yeah, I told you I will not be deceptive.
Yeah.
To the general public.
So my first question is, one, what is it difficult for the government to give us numbers? That one. Two, now that you don't have some numbers, what is being done seriously to create job opportunity? Because unemployment is a national security risk. Mr. Gray, you agree with me? What is being done seriously about this?
I fully agree with you that unemployment is a challenge. I also said to you that had there been some employment in the private sector or in the public sector, for example, yes. What are the examples? Liberia is going through a restructuring process or infrastructure development under this administration. Once there's infrastructure development, whether in the private sector or whether in the government sector or in the public sector, get employment. Whether those are for 6 months, whether they are for 1 year, for example, like the feeder roads, for example, other roads that have been constructed, like homes, for example, mass Liberian coming back home, for including yourself, who are doing construction under this administration, all of those things, they creating employment opportunities for our people. Are we focusing on the agricultural sector to provide more jobs to our people in terms of farming, etc.? Are we working in that with the Ministry of Agriculture? Yes, we are working in that direction. Are we now looking at concession agreements after reviewing, looking at some of the bar concessions, for example, that will call over 70 or 80 of those concession agreements that we didn't just want to run under this administration. We're signing concession agreements and the companies are now forthcoming. Yes, we did that for almost 3 years, making critical analysis. So we can't just have any black money man come here, we ratify, and you take it and go and sell it. Or what happened with the early need situation that those boys had to walk out of this country with $90 million under the past administration, where people will come and get our resources and go and resell the agreement to other companies because they don't have the capacity. That's why we've been slow in ratification of documents or in terms of negotiation. Just last week, we concurred with the Liberian Senate for the railway of Liberia to be used between Guinea and Liberia, where Guinea will be trying iron ore all the way to Buchanan Port. Subsequently, that will run into Mali, for example. We just passed that agreement. In fact,
any estimate about the number of jobs that will be created for our people, Mr. Gray?
No, it's the framework document. The concession itself will come subsequently.
Okay.
In the concession, it will be spelled out. So it was a document that was ratified, like a protocol that was being ratified, framework document. So when the concession itself comes for ratification to the national legislature, you see squared the time frame, the number of jobs that should be created, looking at the time frame. Take for example, the presidential administration, Mita still said they will have provided or said Mita over 10,000 jobs. Okay, this is slow pace. Price of iron will drop on the world market. You know about that. Now, only that the coronavirus, the economy of every country being hit hard, people pack all they had because of the virus, because of safety, for example. Today, now, the LDC people are back to Europe. You see, we're planting poles from Nimba, from Grand Bassar, all the Kitman border hitting Sierra Leone. Now the poles are being planted in sport area, for example, into Grand Buchanan poles are being planted. Those are locals that are working with our international partners that are being employed. That's job for our people. But have we succeeded holistically in providing that such minimum opportunity job? I don't think so. It's a challenge. The bread and butter issue, for example, we have to address that through our agriculture program. Our partisans are concerned about jobs. So our objective is not just to create jobs in governmental cycle. To create jobs for teachers, for example, there were teachers that were now on payroll. The first budget year that we passed, we captured the teachers. Did we capture health workers, for example? Yes. In the first budget year, we captured health workers that were now also on payroll. We increased some benefits for medical doctors in our country. Yes, we did that. Okay. The first budget year, we captured 2, 3, 4, 5,000 new jobs of people who were the past administration, not on national government payroll, for example. We did that. Okay.
Thank you,
the
Mr.
harmonization brought great deed to our country, great relief to our country. Under the IMF program, for example. Okay, Liberia, people say, oh, Liberia, 95, you know. So we're under the program. They damage the economy, so we're trying to fix the economy.
All right, thank you. Folks in cyberspace, this is Focus on Liberia. I'm Ansony Sieh hosting. My guest is Honorable Acarous Moses Gray, Representative District Number 8, Montserrado County, Executive of the CDC. I understand he is the Chairman on Executive at the lower house there at the Liberian National Legislature, and we are talking about a lot of issues here. Mr. Gray, you were talking about coronavirus. You know, like many other countries, Liberia too got hit with COVID, and the country, United States, started rolling out stimulus packages for 8 people. A poor country like Liberia, I'm not proud for saying that. I've lived poverty before. I know how devastating it can be to one physical morphology before talking about that person's mental capacity. But Liberia is poor. We don't have the money. But you guys, the president, and you, his able lieutenant, the CDC as a party, saw that it was wise to give stimulus package, even though you don't have the money. You are crying you don't have money, but you say you could do it. So let me show you something here quickly. So here's the stimulus package. Here are some details here. The highlight of the president's plan features a US $25 million to support food distribution to households in vaccinated affected counties for the period of 60 days, and electricity and water support during stay-at-home program, market, women and small informal petty trader bank loan program, a government domestic debt program, and a president's tax policy and administration stimulus program. The World Bank has committed $15 million to help the government fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The bank has already made available $1.5 million to help the government to start the fight against the coronavirus. Why? They are working on making available the total of $6 million that is expected to be in the country within weeks. So what we gather here, Honorable Gray, you were not only giving rice, or you didn't even plan to give rice. You want to give water, electricity. Even in America, they're not giving all electricity. Where did you guys get the idea from? And how smart was the idea, in your opinion, in the first place, Honorable Gray?
The first thing first is that we all mean well for our country. We mean well for our country.
Okay.
Okay, the president brought the idea. Our national partner decided that we will commit certain $1 million that you just read. Okay, we monitor their fund. They will get the food, they will monitor the fund. The government will have to work along with them. You saw it. There was some hauling and pulling by the Liberian government, sending us representative on. So what I can say to you, I know that fund is being audited. I can say that to you for sure. The president order to audit the entire funds. The president is serious about that.
Would there be any serious outcome? The president is noted for talking about logical conclusion. I'm not sure we've gotten one yet, Honorable Gray.
Let me say this to you. If anyone ate this money and stole this money, report is available. You'll be there where you're calling it. I can say that to you for sure.
I heard that before, Honorable Gray. I don't have faith anymore.
I'm not talking about what you heard before, I'm telling you what I'm saying to you today. And that's my stand talking about quote unquote perceived corruption on this program, quote unquote. That's my first time. So I'm just saying to you, I don't mind.
Does it mean you have some credible information indicting individuals who siphoned this money, Honorable Gray?
No, I'm not saying that. Okay, I know reports are being made. I know some of our friends in the city invited. The group has not been very satisfied. Is that like they have to come with those fundings, for example? But I can say to you for sure that my district was the first to have benefited. Not every community, because I know some of the communities are still saying, a few of the communities are still saying they need some of them have not benefited. Okay, they jump, I think, about 5, 6 communities. But realistically, I know this may not go down well with everybody, but in terms of the distribution, my district benefited, many communities benefited, not all, don't get me wrong. And I'm proud to say the official launching program even took place in Park community in my district because our ability to lobby, our ability to fight for our people. Are there challenges? People are complaining. I was just in Ravos put you in the shock. That some people say food was sin, but according to them, they jump over some of the communities, started blaming local officials. I know in county on the snow race, an issue where he claimed that some of the local officials were calling the food to other people. People got arrested, or food was being found in some communities, which is sad. Is that a sanctioned action of the government of Liberia? No, it's not a sanctioned action. This president will not at any time encourage people selling the food of the locals. In fact, I know that they even thinking, or they having program or thinking of a program where they will help to provide some of the stimulus packages in the school system in Liberia. I know some local farmers have been providing some of their products, for example, to the agriculture, for example. So are there challenges? Yes, there are challenges. Am I a certain lawmaker? I'm not going to sit and say something because I think I want to defend government.
My people, the Senate. I was just about to say the Senate is not happy with the TAPES report. Are you happy? Are you unhappy with that too?
He has appeared before us.
Okay.
What they saw, I've not seen it.
Okay.
Okay. No, I will be unfair. I'll be not satisfied politically in terms of giving to my people. I'm not holistically satisfied because there are some of my people who are yet to be fed. There are some of my people who are yet to benefit from the resources of the state and the international community commitment. So I'm going to consistently insist it is in my district that have not benefited. should benefit. But were we the first? Did the group do well in our district in giving out food items, for example, the beans that I was a part of, that I took them slavery, took them Basso community, and took them to other communities that my son took. Okay, yes, am I satisfied in that direction? Yes. But am I holistically satisfied in terms of the distribution of the food and with the kind of numbers that is being called? So that's why I'm interested in to be the audit report on that. Yes.
All right, Honorable Gray, another audit report is being talked about, but you are saying this one's going to be different. I don't know how. We will see. We are here. But another aspect about the stimulus is that, Honorable Gray, there was a time people were scared to death. There was a state of an emergency because the government was making effort to control the direct disease, because we saw what happened during Ebola, right? So the government was firm. We saw people getting whooped. We saw police were ratting. I remember the incident in Negro Town where a sister was attacked by a police officer. A lot of things went wrong. We can say that. But just about the time the people's representatives were showing some serious effort to get help for the people, while the government had asked them to stay indoors, let's report that you guys got some money. Now, let me read something for you here that was being reported in the papers. In 2020, lawmakers distributed 180,000 United States dollars among its members and kept silent after it signed a joint resolution with the House for approving President Weah's COVID-19 stimulus package. Let me continue here. Senator Abraham Darros Dillon of Mosorado County later disclosed that each senator received 6,000, even though later we were told 6,005. And then they were told was operational funds. Then, the following day, Nimba County Senator Prince Yomin Johnson appeared on radio and confirmed that he received 7,000 of the amount for special and extra sitting. So two things. You're getting operational funds while you, the people representative, trying to do your job to get your people some help, but you are collecting some money before you can even do your job. Is this true and is this fair, Mr. Gray?
I think it's unfair to ask me that question. I'm not a senator. Okay. I don't speak for the Liberian Senate. Why is it true that I would know some things? The operational funds, for example, of the Liberian Senate, I cannot make that determination of what they get for operational funds.
Did they get some money?
No, excuse me. That is not within my purview. For you to hear the senator saying that, say one says 7,000, another says 6,000.
Right.
Okay. I think it would be fair enough for you to invite me on the show. Okay. What I know of is that in September and October of last year, respectively, I know of the fact that one, what we call medical and constituency. You remember when Sasa said, Senator, they don't receive his medical benefits.
Right.
He said he never received any money for medical. I think it was just a state vocabulary. Let me say this.
Okay.
Samuel Joseph had come from the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives gave what we call medical and constituency coming to the close of the year. That is 5,000, which some of 10,000. Instead of calling it medical and constituency, they only call it constituency, which is like 10,000.
Okay.
Okay. Then also, I think on the operation, if you put all together, there was another set of money that we received. So after Joseph, I said I had checks in my possession. So my issue was not about whether the money is legitimate or not. That was not my issue. To reflect that issue that you're trying to raise.
Okay.
My issue was Senator Dillon had made it clear during the first term that every cent he gets he will make it public. That he will only receive his salary and any other extra money, he will not receive it. My issue was that make it public or you will not receive it, but you receive it. So whether the money was legitimate as operational funds or not, you've made a statement that you will not receive it. So to come and argue that the money, because he argued that the money was legitimate or operational fund. So I mean, all of the argument you had in the past against lawmakers that they were receiving huge benefit, you didn't know that the operational fund is part of the benefits, and you accuse them of receiving huge benefits, and you reject those benefits. So it was printed upon them that we decided, okay, that it was fair enough that we'll be able to put out, okay, all of these pieces of information. So while I was doing now one of the check, okay, he denied, he said the checks were fake, and I came up public business challenge sheet. Okay, at least it's there to $6,000 that you put out there. So it would be fair enough to ask the Liberian Senate and not me, because I know the resolution will have leading to the state of emergency. Members of the legislature individually waived almost all of our gas. Waived. The amount of money was huge. We waived our legislative projects by then. Every lawmaker to your district should have received between $15,000 to $30,000 for 2 years. The first 2 years, that is 2018 and 2019, we waived that. Mathematically, every member of the House, I'm not speaking about the Senate.
Okay.
In fact, we elevated that debate and added to that motion. We waive now less than minimum of $50,000 each, because we were paying about the Liberian people. We didn't want to stop there. All United States dollars that we received in the tune of 8,000 and some more, we cut that down to 4,700 and some more dollars. Members represent, I'm not talking about the Liberian Senate. Okay, so we did the identity to help the government because there was a mammoth challenge. That's why you see the first 2 years in the House of Representatives, lawmaker did legislative. The first 2 years. The first 2 years, 2018 and 2019. Okay, because we say, they go back to the government. Let's fight this entire deadly virus, because where will you take the development at that period by 2020 when they should have started our projects, for example? So what we arguing on that, we are arguing the budget to begin our project. That's what we are arguing as lawmakers. Okay, can you imagine we're making $2,225 gas under the past administration and the first year administration? We've cut that money down to not less than 50%. So now, I can say to you safely that we are yet to be paid. What we are receiving as the 50% is part of last year. For them, we are yet to be paid our gas.
And why is that, Honorable Gray?
No, I'm saying because we did waiver, we did 50% cut, 50% cut, not less than 50% of our gas. The question you should be asking, what is the sin in the Senate?
Okay.
With all the sharp more other people making, what is the sin of the salary cut? And I'm trying to, let me get my phone and show you something, because I love to speak with prima facie so that people cannot pass around and say they cut salary, you're in money. We holistically wrote communication.
Mr. Gray, you can send it to me later and then I will publish it. Because of time, let me progress. I have 2 more segments here that I need you to speak to, if you don't mind, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, so I want us to get to this code of conduct. You having to be one of the lawmakers who got fingerprint, got his fingerprint on this. And so I really want you to speak to that. The code of conduct is a beautiful piece of law, if I can pull it that way, that was passed in 2014. And there are a lot of good things in that law. that I see that even you lawmakers are in the business of violating, and even people in the executive violating provisions of this particular law. And I see that your oversight responsibility is not being exercised in holding yourself accountable before talking about people in the executive. For example, let me read this for you, Honorable Gray. According to section 1.3.616, talk about nepotism. It says when a public official appoints, employs, promotes, or recommends for advancement family members in any agency of government or branch of government in which he/she works, then that person is guilty, in my opinion, by my understanding of this particular piece of law. That person is guilty of nepotism. Historically, and Mr. Gray, you have to be firm on this one. Don't tell me I should take it to the bank. There's history in Liberia that members of the legislature employ their family members. Is that not true? Are you not one of those, Mr. Gray?
Let me say this to you. You need to
Okay,
read
sir.
the code of conduct. There's restriction. In fact, I submitted the bill on nepotism. The code of conduct, I reintroduced that bill for passage. I'm the dean of code of conduct in the House. In the original code of conduct, there was nothing about nepotism. In the original request. Before I became lawmaker, there was nothing about nepotism. I submitted a bill on nepotism so that we can curtail or forbid nepotism. It was a mammoth challenge. Since Article 90C of the Liberian Constitution calls for a code of conduct, and there's a provision in the Liberian Constitution also talk about us trying to fight nepotism.
Certainly.
So instruct in code of conduct, the one you're reading, provision of the bill on nepotism, put it in the code of conduct. So when you talk about family member, at the time of death, you got to go to the first aspect of conduct. The family member is now left ambiguous.
Okay.
We talk about family member, we talk about your father, your children, your brothers and sisters, and your. It doesn't extend to cousins.
Cousins. Okay.
Yeah. I think you just, but you got to go to the term of definition that you see what the family member is. It's clearly defined.
Yeah, and that is even clear.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to put that in context.
I appreciate that.
So, am I aware of a lawmaker who has appointed these categories of people? If I know one, if someone can bring it to my attention, I will flag the issue, violation of the code of conduct.
Are you not in violation?
First, I don't have a brother in Liberia or a sister. I have a sister.
Okay.
Biologically, like I said to you, 2 boys. Plus myself, my 2 brothers are in the United States of America. One was born there, one migrated there. Okay, he is a U.S. citizen. My mom and my dad, they don't live in Liberia. They've been in America as far back as 1986, 88. They migrated there permanently between 86 and 88. They are there. I mean, obviously, I don't have a wife in the government. Okay, they talk about your wife or your husband. Do I have a sister that have influence of this president to a point from this area? I have not. I don't have a sister. Do I have a brother? Yeah, in my bureau. So I'm not guilty of that, not even in my office, nor outside my office.
What's about people in the executive? You don't know anybody in the executive close to power who controls enormous power, influencing or using that power to get their family member jobs in your government?
That's the nature of the code of conduct.
Okay.
Because you have to establish that maybe someone influenced me to appoint your sister. Or you influenced me, you have to establish that.
Okay.
You have to have the evidence on that.
The evidence of
what I think, and I want to be very sincere here, what we need to do is to ensure that we appoint the ombudsman. I think we need to do it. It's not a choice. It's amended by the code of conduct that we must do that. Okay, and I like the fact that you're discussing nepotism in the code of conduct, because what the people have done to the code of conduct, that's the best moral document or integrous document in this country.
In the history of that, I said that many times. I really like it.
Yeah, the bush of the code of conduct only by political participation, and not even knowing that if a government official receives a cash gift or more than 50 or plus United States, you have to declare it to your boss. So I love the fact that if journalists pick up the code of conduct and begin to hold liable and to demonstrate that Chairman Mobile Moru appointed government to the campaign team, because of the conduct they had to resign.
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, they had to resign, and I supported that. We supported that. The president was very concerned, and he instructed all ministers and appointed officials not to be on the campaign team.
But Mr. Gray, where were you when he appointed those people in the first place? You are cognizant of the law, and he did it. You didn't know?
No, when you say you're cognizant of the law and he did it, it's the party. Was I a National Executive Committee member of the CDC? No. Had I resigned as National Vice Chair for Political Affairs of the CDC, looking at my resignation, I have resigned. Okay. So
that decision didn't have to pass through you, or you were not in the know whatsoever?
No, I don't have to. In fact, I was appointed as the campaign spokesperson. It was not a violation of the code of conduct. I'm not appointed official. Okay. They resigned. I know we talked to a lot of friends. Many of them said, no, we don't want to violate. We don't want to pick on this. Okay, we want to protect the code of conduct. So the national of the CDC didn't have to ask me. Okay, I remember, in fact, when we're passing the code of conduct, I told the president of the Republic of Liberia, when he was in a senator, conduct was being passed, I said, you have to resign as peace ambassador to President Sieh, because the code of conduct is very clear.
2 years prior.
But when the law passed, the law should not have been retroactive.
Okay.
But the judicial branch of government interpreted what the code of conduct is. They interpret, they say, when people are only finding, I think one of the challenges of the code of conduct is the punitive measure taken and spelled out clearly that you cannot contest, for example, but there's a Supreme Court opinion and there's a need for amendments in the code of conduct. But I thought it was unfair for two sheets in the code of conduct to supersede all of the burdens of the code of conduct that you flag.
And Mr. Gray, the issue of gifts that you brought up, the code of conduct is clear that as an official of government, receiving gifts more than $200 would be a violation of the law. That means, quote unquote, is tantamount to bribe, right, or bribery. The president of Liberia.
Bribery is defined in the code of conduct as a gift.
Okay. All right. So let me stick to the gifts. So talking about gifts is also a violation when one takes anything of value or that is valued more than $200. The president told us he got they
got different categories of gifts.
Okay.
Okay. They got token gifts, for example, the physical cash.
Right.
Okay, with traditional gifts that you can receive.
But the law is clear about the value, or depending on the gift, the value changes. Is that what you're trying to suggest?
No, the value in terms of physical cash is clear. It's not value of the material. Yeah.
So are you telling me it is not the gift that is being valued in terms of the dollar?
They got cash. They got it. It's different. That's why I say, before you go to articles of the code of conduct, you need to go to the categories of gift that you're talking about and what's the definition of the gifts.
Okay.
Yeah, but that goes to your question.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other aspect of campaign. The law is also clear, and you are, you're familiar with the law. You helped to pass it. So it's clear that officials of government, while working in their capacity, especially appointees, they are not supposed to be campaigning. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. Is that not the case?
You see, there's a little trick that needs to be challenged, and so the court can define what is political activities. Because I know people argue that you can't deprive me of my right to support what I want to support. The Constitution calls for freedom of association.
And allow me to read this for Mr. Gray, and then you can explain that so that our audience can follow better here. And that is section 5.1. All officials appointed by the President of the Republic of Liberia shall not engage in political activities, canvass, contest for elected offices. And further down in the law, if any of them want to do it, they have to resign 2 years prior. I think there are a lot of government officials in the CDC government and past government as well that are guilty of this particular provision in the law. Do you agree or disagree?
Look, I flag the issue. I want to sit here and say I've not flagged the issue. I flagged the issue on the presidential administration. But again, it was challenged. What we failed to do, what many of us failed to do, we should have gone to the court to say this man is involved into political activities, or canvassing, or campaigning, because for political activities, canvassing, and campaigning, the two have not been clearly defined, so that there's a need for amendment.
What definition is needed? Campaigning? I think you're talking about political activities. Yeah, it's clear for political activities.
But excuse me, that three words there, three political activities, campaigning, and campaigning. You can put it by up.
Yeah, political activity, canvass, contest for elected offices.
Yeah, so you can see clear. In fact, it's not even saying campaigning; it's a political activities, canvass, or contest.
But canvass is campaigning. That's the other word for campaigning, canvass.
Yeah, saying the war campaign, they say canvass. We use the word interchange, right?
Right.
Yeah. I am saying to you, me and you who understand what a political activities, like appointing, what was done, appointing our people, especially to canvass. Okay. So is the code of conduct saying that only when you are appointed on a campaign means that you are canvassing? Is that what the code is saying? There are people who have come out to say we can challenge it because I have the right to say who I want to support. But for my understanding and your understanding, which I agree with you, that officers who were appointed
by the president,
and appointed by the CDC campaign team, for many, especially just being on the campaign team, or maybe going into community and talking to people, we should go argue technically, but just by the fact that you have been appointed on a campaign team, that's canvassing. And I thought it was not in the interest of the code of conduct.
All right.
What's wrong?
Yeah, but my understanding here is that most officials are guilty of this. And I think I feel the law is very clear about political activities and canvass, but again, it's debatable. You want it to be as defined as possible so that there can be doubts.
Let me just tell you this. You see, sometimes when you leave the laws of the politician, that's what the Supreme Court is there for. Sometimes people go to challenge.
Right.
Let me just give you an example on Justice Janet's situation. It says we can remove a chief justice for abuse of power. I don't want to play the devil advocate. Okay, impeach.
You sure you want to go there, Honorable Gray?
Oh, no, yeah, I want to go there.
That is not a favorite subject for you.
Excuse me, I don't run away from what I do. Okay. I have no regret for what I did.
Okay,
I did it because I was. Okay. Misuse of power is not defined by any Supreme Court ruling. Misuse of power is not defined by legislation.
So does it mean it's subject to anyone's interpretation?
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Mr.
It's the legislature that will determine what is misuse of power. abuse of power.
Mm-hmm.
Am I lying? You gave us that authority.
You make the law.
No, so we did not make that law. No, the law was voted for in 1985 by the Liberian people. It's part of the Liberian Constitution. That one, that legislation that we make it.
Okay.
You said to me, as a member of the House of Representatives, we can remove. Yeah, we can remove. The Senate will remove, but the House of Representatives, you said it's like a set of indictment against somebody submitted to. So tell me, are we convinced that such action was abuse of power on the issue of what happened in my district? I was convinced. Was I convinced? 100% convinced. Did the Liberian Senate vote on that? They did not. They voted on the road funds. So it's the Senate that removing, but we make the determination. It's our votes that will make a determination. The only thing you ask for is due process. So I give you an example. It's our vote that will determine whether you have abused power or not. It's like you went to court. You see how you care, and they're having jury trial. Who will determine whether you care or not? Judge will tell the judge, say, yeah, well, you say one, guilty or not guilty. They will determine that. So I'm just trying to tell you that that's why you see the framework of the Constitution say there must be a branch of government called the legislature laws. So these are the things that constituents will have to get behind the lawmakers, for example. These are the things that people will run to the Supreme Court and say, interpret that this abuse of power that the people are talking about is not abuse of power. So that's the opinion of the Supreme Court. That's why they didn't say the facts of the Supreme Court. They said the opinion of the Supreme Court. The way of 5 people within is law and gospel. The opinion. They didn't say the facts. They said the opinion. So we also have an opinion as members of the legislature to run on an opinion whether you have abused power by what you give to us.
Okay.
So I'm saying these these debates are very interesting in the history of our country. Because sometimes you see people running around, oh, the man, he abused power. Other person say, oh, he abused power. You know, you understand. But we make that determination. And do I agree on the issue of the code of conduct? Those who were appointed on the CDC campaign team, officials of government, do I agree that appointment was in violation of the code of conduct and was corrected? And those officials had to resign? Yes, they resigned. I thought that in that direction, it was not the right thing to do. And not because past administration did that, so we should do it. I don't think so.
Thank you. Again, folks, watching us here, Focus on Liberia. Acarous Moses Gray is my guest. I'm Ansony Sieh hosting. This is Focus on Liberia. Thank you for sticking with us here as we continue on this one-on-one. Honorable Gray, let's come to my final segment here. This is where I'm going to push you to the limit. CDC as a political party. Let's talk about that. Something comes to mind here, Honorable Gray. Let's go a little faster here because we got 15 minutes. But I want to get more out of you. So CDC won. I know of something an auxiliary called CDC USA. I know some of the leaders that you know. Let me show you a picture, Honorable Gray. He's one of the heavy guys, and he is your friend. He's right there. You are in a red, white shirt, standing with him. Did anything go wrong for which
let me see, I didn't see
all leaders? You want to see the picture again?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is Axel Vactuba. I would think he's a comrade of yours. He is a brother of yours. He was in the trenches with you. What happened? I don't see Zakama. And many people, I don't want to call all of them. Acarous, what went wrong?
That made to the issue of Iowa. I was a brother of mine. He's a friend of mine. Very brilliant young man. I won't sit on the show and disparage Alvatoba. We are the history of the struggle, being in the trenches of history, and other us making history. I will not speak for Ava. I've agreed with him on many issues. I've also disagreed with him on some issues. Okay. I know he made his own decision where he wanted to go. I respect that decision. Though I'm one of those who said I thought it was important that you have stayed with it and you fight. I thought that was very much important for us to stay with him and fight. If you want to make a change, I believe you remain with him and you make battles. It has never been an easy road for all of us, including in the CDC. That's been an easy road. If anyone tell you that it has been an easy road, then that person is making a mistake. We all have individual internal challenges. What I can say to you, I believe that we still need to come together as members of the CDC, no matter what our differences are.
We've been hearing this story. We still need to come together. He and others have been ostracized. They worked so hard like you did and many others did. And they were with you to the end. And in no time, you turn your back on them.
No, you know what I will say to you?
No.
Everyone will not get a job at the same time. That's one.
I couldn't agree more, but you want to put your best on the front.
Excuse me. We all have best. The CDC team is like the national team of Brazil. We're always players. Very good players.
Brazil always making changes in the second half. You are in the second half. You didn't even make a change yet, Mr. Gray.
That's me. We all would not have a job at the same time. We all would not agree on all of the approaches at the same time. You see, I'm very party disciplined. You'll be shocked that some of the things that I've never agreed with in the CDC. I don't have to come in the public and shout about that. You will be very shocked. Okay? Am I party disciplined? When the National Executive Committee, for example, that decision, that's why they call building institution and not individuals. Okay. I will not, let me repeat, today stay on this program and castigate Zakama, who earns the work for the CDC. Ava, who earns the work for the CDC. Besides politics, Ava had been a very good friend of mine, even outside politics. A very nice guy who contributed towards the survivability of the CDC. I know there was one point in time they saw it differently in 2010, 2011. Those were part of the struggle. Okay. But do I agree? I want to be blunt. That leaving the CDC is an option. I don't think so. I will repeat consistently. Are there rooms to mend fences? Yes. That's why the national leadership of the CDC must go a step further.
Mr. Gray, the last time you called for a retreat, hold on there, Mr. Gray, you called for a retreat that was intended to reconcile your party. Some of the leaders flew to Liberia. That retreat at the, I think it's the ATS, became a fiasco, Honorable Gray, wasn't it?
I will say this to you. One retreat resolved everything. One retreat. Even two cannot just resolve everything in an institution. There will always be problems. Because we often different orientation, different backgrounds, religious background, economic background, social background, from everything you can think about. Some people are very strong when it comes to their opinion. They believe in this, even if the majority say we're going this way and should follow the majority, some people say then I will resign or step aside. They hold strong to their opinion. All that I'm saying is that we have to go further as a party and consistent vision. We are an institution. When people leave the institution,
it seems to be you guys are out of options in reaching out to these people.
Excuse me. Is it in the best institution for people to leave? It's not in the best interest of any institution. For me, I know there will be movement that people will have to. I can understand some people will just not accept what they done in life. They are human. So I think the consistent need for us, not just to Alva, not just to Zagama. Some of our friends in the CDC USA are dissatisfied. Get the dissatisfied. There's no debate about that or no okay.
Okay.
Some of the people locally are dissatisfied. I will say this to you. And I've never shied away or run away in me that this government must be a CDC government. When I say a CDC government, when this government failed in the executive branch of government, the president takes the blame, and the CDC, they will vote against the party. Listen to the opposition in government, in the Senate or in the House. The day they are against me, they take the credit along with the president. But the day something happens that is not in the interest of the country or the side, they castigate the CDC. So what crime is it? Excuse me, as seditions now Liberians, what crime is it that giving the job to sedition? It's not a crime, parents.
It's not a crime. I think you should. I think you should do it because the last time I checked,
I've been consistent. I was waiting for that. I'm on record for that.
And you guys should do that. And this is how blunt I am. When Trump won, I don't remember him appointing any Democrat to the government. I mean, there's no law that says that when you are a party in power, you're forced to appoint people from other parties. That is why when you win, it's your choice. It will be a good thing for you to include other people. But leaving your people out, I think, is a complete disservice.
I will say this to you. President Sieh got inducted into office in 2006 to create job opportunities for her people. The civil service authority, the civil service, was dissolved tacitly by introducing resizing and not using the word downsizing. It was just a technical political jargon to bring unity party slogans and other things into the governance process. Those who took EPS or SSS training into the United States of America and induced the class, they were taken from the EPS. And members of the National Battle Unity Party was into the EPS. Some of them we have inherited up to today's date. Not only that, I'm very vocal. I don't miss my words on that. Okay? President Sieh only appointed one person from the CDC. The Moravia Transport. One we are. One. By appointment, whether assistant minister or whatsoever. Look, I'm saying this to you.
I thought Sieh have a good number of you. Mr. Twir was in government. Mr. McGill was in government. All right. All right, folks. Focus on Liberia here. I'm Ansony Sieh. Mr. Acarous Gray is our guest, and we have been discussing a lot of issues here. If you are just joining us, I want to say welcome to the broadcast here. I focus on Liberia. Mr. Gray is back now. Mr. Gray, quickly, I have about 5 minutes here, so wrap it up here.
Was never appointed by Ellen Johnson. I'm talking about appointed position. Let me repeat. Nobody should ever make that mistake. Twir was never appointed by Ellen Johnson.
Was he working in the early Johnson Sieh government?
He worked in the early Johnson Sieh government. 90% of the government, she brought in there, and it's still work with us. We don't look for isolated cases. We are looking for appointed position, for example, proper minister.
All right. Mr.
Managing director. Nathaniel McGill, first term, was never appointed by President Sieh for first term, from 2006 to 2012. For first term. We got to set the record straight. She later on appointed former Chairman Joshua Saki to the MTA when she took Weah.
President Weah was appointed too.
Our first term, Weah was never appointed. That was after the 2011 election in her second term as Speaker.
So your credit is that in your first term, you brought the likes of Westoga in your government, you brought the likes of Nukwe in your government. That was your decision. Why you want to cry baby about this?
No, you struck a point. We're all striking the same point. I'm not crying baby. Okay. It's the choice of the president to make that decision. Okay. This is the most important government in the history of the country. We inherited now less than 5 ministers or managing directors or managers from the past administration. Okay, the defense minister comes from the past administration. I'm not saying it's a partisan.
The president has the firing power. Who stops him?
No, I just told you inclusiveness. Mary Brock comes from the past administration. Samuel Wood comes from the past administration, for example. The former internal affairs, the current internal affairs minister comes from the past administration, for example. We can go
Eugene Namwe came from the past administration as well.
Okay. Okay. So you
made the decision against the interests of your own partisans.
I'm saying to you that the most inclusive government in the history of this country is a we-led administration, where the opposition are crying that they needed jobs. Are they not in strategic position? Who are the great the controllers, for example, of land ministries and agencies? The directors, for example, every land ministry, for example, that are linking a document in the system, for example. Go to the executive mansion, for example. Some of the people left in her office are still there. Some of those who were head near her, Emmanuel, Eddie Cam, and other people are still there while he was president. This is
Mr. Gray.
No. We gotta conclude on this because I've heard people talking about.
You've been very clear on it, Mr. Gray. You've been very clear.
No. That's a meaning. Our time, Samuel Tower was working, and our time we gave my assistant minister a job. Maggie had to resign that job, but our time, people who castigated us, the very agriculture minister, who wrote some of the deadliest against the CDC or opposing the CDC. Is agriculture minister.
And you did that against the likes of Harvard. Don't you think he has reason to be angry? So you're doing this to yourself, Mr. Gray. Don't claim it as a credit. It's no credit.
Not that. One of the pillars upon which we fought to come is to help reconcile the country. One of the classes in our been as a student of international studies and history, the issue of political participation. That crisis, where have been isolated, it is totality. That history. Today in our administration, Joseph Boy got 2 sons work in our administration. One was at the Freeport, another at Maritime. We didn't waste one there. I think that his older son works at Maritime.
It was reported that you wish hunted Mo Ali. I hope I'm not putting you in a situation you can't handle.
I will handle the situation. Mo Ali is my little brother. I told Mo Ali, and let me repeat. I told Mo Ali, I always stand for Mo Ali. I told Ali, I put him, even monitor it. I told Mo Ali, nowhere in the war. You go and protest during work hour against your man. And lead a group that pass in front of that ministry that you should be working at that hour and call your boss man a thief. Nowhere in the world you do that. More actions there is. He boss. I told him reason why I never accepted any appointed position for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf or to work in the executive. I therefore fundamentally.
But you are not offer, Mr. Gray. So why are you?
No, excuse me. I will offer. In my generation, I will offer the most. No young man in Liberia have been offered more than me on a President Sirleaf administration than I do.
Did you travel with her when she was in power?
I never. I was just telling someone yesterday that I never traveled with President Sirleaf, never talking on the street. Never. I know what people got that gossip from. Okay.
Oh, great. Something I see going on here. You guys are used to attack it. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, please conclude. I want to come to my final point here. We got to go.
I will say this to you. That even in the great United States of America, you can't be white executive and standing there insulting the president and insulting your opponent. I want to work with you every day. Okay? So
that is unacceptable behavior, Mr. Gray. You and myself are in agreement on that.
Nobody took job for the Secretary General of the Unity Party in this country. Resigned all of his coalition. Said that to you. So the Patrick Hunter who been running around, he also that he didn't want a job. He resigned, for example, from his position. So nobody was hunting there. We were in this country. We couldn't even visit some of our friends then who were ministers. We say Acarous went to the main house today and you are in trouble tomorrow morning. But the maximum level of hate that these guys are not in the post today
Mr. Gray, this is a political debate. This war hate, those of you in the CDC throwing around, I don't believe it. I see you with Mo Ali all the time. Does he hate you? So I want you to take that war out of the picture. This is a healthy and serious political debate. You guys just throwing the hate wars around loosely, and I don't accept that. But let me throw this at you, Honorable Gray, please. So you can
correct you. Let me correct you. Probably that's your diction. But after years, these guys are not in power. They see it that they're not getting the gas that they used to get anymore. They're not getting the fabulous they used to get. They're not drinking and eating the same food that they used to eat. Some of them took their money and put it behind Ray-Bans, etc. They have nothing to show. After 12 years, they thought they were been in power like the Chewy party. Okay? So they hit the fight. That a boy from Raspberry Valley in the slum of Gibraltar or beyond G.W. Gibson can become a lawmaker today, that Jefferson Koji can become the mayor to show that you
Mr. Gray, I disagree with you. It's not hate. It's not hate, Mr. Gray. I don't see it to be hate.
No. I will give you 1 minute to throw on this. If you look at Jeff Koji, for example, because you don't love him and say he killed him being, and you cartoon him and put gun in your hand. Okay. And you read a story, for example, say Acarous Gray was denied a U.S. visa.
I think it's just a dangerous political or propaganda. I don't think that's hate.
When I took my family to the airport, you're allowed to take my picture on RIA. You see, I told you about the man running away. You know, the hate is too much in my brain, not just in government. Ask some of your friends.
Mr. Gray, if you can say that those in the opposition are exercising, hold on, Mr. Gray, let me hold you there. If you want to make the point that folks in Honorable Gray, hold on there, please. I beg you. If you are saying folks in the opposition are exercising hate by your definition and your yardstick using, then of course you two are exercising hate. Number one, when Yeke Koluba was traveling, when his family, was being stabbed, baby formula and even taken away, can they consider that as hate too?
Excuse me, man. Yeke always creating or say.
Can Costa say that you hate him when he was being chased in Sierra Leone?
Costa just created a say. Let me tell you something. Let me say this.
What I'm saying, this is all politics. I don't consider it a hate. So conclude on it so I can give you my final questions for you to conclude, sir.
Let me say, you ask a question. Let me answer it.
Yeah, please.
Professional journalists, you will never use your platform for me to use your voice. As a professional journalist, you always hold me accountable for what I say. You, when I say certain things are lies, you will not insult openly and call the president an idiot.
No, I would never do that. I would never do that.
No, I'm saying this to you, and our kids out there are listening. There's something called social responsibility, and you know that, and I know that. As a journalist, you know what are social responsibilities. Okay? As far as I'm saying, Costa is a fugitive in escape justice. Okay? Ellen shot the radio station down here. Ellen Johnson even said that, in fact, they were brutal to him. Even the CDC administration listened to him on Spoon Talk. I am just saying to you, today, that we don't hit Costa. The president is Costa. Even after Costa recorded the president had called, said, campaign and make Nabro better. The man recorded the president. But the president embraced him, embraced his sister Tilia to the examination, so they work together. They embraced him. They opened a radio station. They took photos together. Who will embrace you after I call you and you will call me?
The Obama administration recalled or Chancellor Merkel.
Look, you know what? If I call or you call me and I'm talking to you, you recall me to damage me and you say against me and support my opponent after I win, I call you and say, come. We can work together for the better of the country. That is unprecedented in the history of this country. Ellen will run after you. Ellen Johnson said, run you. She will never forgive you. Okay,
Mr. Gray,
so
I want you to close with this. We have to go. I want you to close with this.
opening our arms to the people, even our arms to them, they still want to choke her in the back.
Mr. Gray, you're trying to filibuster me here. You're using your legislative tactic here to filibuster me here. You're trying to filibuster me here. Let me give you this so you can close with it, Honorable. Time is fast spent. I see you guys at it again with this political maneuvering and tactics. You did that in the campaign. It did not work. What I'm talking about is you put some money in there. You snatched some young folks in a COP and you made them CDC COP. As though that is not enough, we saw mass resignation. We saw the likes of Noel Gibson confessing that he was being given money and you were trying to buy him over. This is what you're doing. Elections are coming again. I want you to close with that. And also this one, I saw your post trying to play down on Darius Dillon's project about the rehab center. You cannot play it down. The issue of Zogos is serious. It shouldn't be a policy issue. These are wayward youth affected by the war that are vulnerable. At least Dillon is trying to do something. I myself, to be honest, I'm not impressed with that. It's laughable, but at least he's doing something. So close with those two. COP, CDC, you bring in the youth, election coming, and then there's Zogo thing. Now you're going after Dillon. Pretty much you're saying Dillon is not serious about doing something substantive. What are you doing? Close with those.
Well, let me say this to you. Okay, on a very sincere note, the citizens have the money to buy opponents. What is happening is that guys have become politically unshackled. To you about the unshackled that used to be on EAW, where people will see the light and transform themselves. Or say, I've seen Jesus Christ, I've seen Allah, or I believe in Muhammad, you change. And you can tell me that Kokobo was bought by the CDC, was member of the COP, Senator S. Kokobo, Senator Sanosi. I'm talking about poor resign after the June 6th protest action. Okay, many persons, many big Liberians were there, government officials, the legislature, former government official, the Rufus Mover, and other people. Didn't they resign? Did the CDC buy Senator Johnson? Did the CDC buy Oscar Kobo, for example, and other people resign? The CDC never bought them. It's the management skill of the leadership of the COP, the dictatorial tenants. That's what they are saying. And I told them about that. Our white guys, Costa and my good friend Costa still comes in my inbox. If you don't know that, okay, just one moment ago we had a conversation. I mean, to and fro. Costa, ask him. Okay, look at the characteristic sketch of Henry. He had never maintained a friendship. All the radio programs in the guys who were co-hosts. This boy now is the longest. All the other guys resigned. He almost running business together is split. Two other persons from the radio program, the split. MD, Manipaka Dumia, for example. The Costa Dumia from Hot FM. The Chakra, right? The Chakra.
For I know about Fidel City too.
No, let me kind of Fidel now. I just go in great. The maintenance of friendship is very important. Relationship. If you cannot maintain those relationships, you cannot maintain an organization. He didn't maintain them. Okay. So most boys feel that they are being used. Most of them. Some of the boys are graduating from university now, they need jobs to do, they need other things. Most of them feel that they are being used.
And so you are tantalizing them with few dollars, right? You are tantalizing them with few dollars.
There's the mammoth unprecedented development of the administration that you cannot question when you see electricity. You can question that. When you see road network connectivity, you can go to the other day and tell us, hey, they run road. She will tell you, no, my son, Since 1822, no quota have been here. Okay? St. Anno of Carthage visited Liberia in 4 BC by historic record. You've not seen quota in some areas before, but it's there. Paved roads. You've not seen electricity in some areas, street lights. You've not seen low-income homes or free homes given to people with latrine, running water. You've not seen that before.
How reliable are those lights? Some people calling those lights Chinese light.
Yeah, maybe they launch Chinese light, so it's not. I don't want to dwell into that. Okay, but I am saying to you that you can get facts. You can debate opinion. What are the facts? The lights are there. The rules are being built. The people have accepted the president all over Liberia, unprecedented acceptance. The legitimacy of the president is intact. The opposition don't even have a fitting bearer up to now. They don't have a flag bearer.
The long crucify you guys in your stronghold. So I don't know what you're talking about, Honorable Gray. The long single-handedly crucify you in your stronghold 2 times.
No, they say stronghold. I just want to say this to you. Who defeated the United Party in strongholds in this country? Senatorial election, you want to compare the presidential election, compare the Republican senatorial or legislative election and the Democratic legislative election in America, and still see that where the Republican will have more people or the Democrat more people in the House or in the Senate, and you will see if that is a Democrat, you see a Republican president. And sometimes you see a Democrat.
Great, you know the CDC could not win election until you got this quasi coalition to get you to the finish line. So what makes you so powerful?
The second portion of the question you're talking about.
Yeah, the Zogo, please. We have to go here.
It is to you. I want you to, you see, I saw Senator Delon, because I compare him now, he's speeding up. I look at what he posted. Can he live in that place? Look at, ask any engineer, look at the flow. It's a water lock area that the water was underground in less than 2 years at the place. I want you to see what he posted. Go to the roof, look at the zinc.
I saw that. I saw that.
He just posted for you to look at it keenly. Look at the windows. Look at the place. A question that you must ask yourself. Renovating a place, though you said last year, June, you will finish, you did not up to now. I hope some of you in America put money together, what, 200,000 US. That he's not building this place. That's renovation ongoing. He's not building a new place from scratch. He renovating somewhere, he renting. He paying to be renting. My issue here is that what the program put in place, it's just to put them there. What the feeding program, for example, psychiatrists or psychologists, etc., or people working with these the guys who are out there. Who are the people that are going to deal with the guys who take in drugs, for example? What's your plan? What the payment plan? For example, for those who pays the electricity bill, for example, who pays the water bill, for example, all of those things. You have no plan. So it's just a political construction. So it's nothing. If you confirm, are you confirming the inner?
Mr. Gray, Ali, he's doing something. What are you doing about the Zogos?
Excuse me. Let me tell you, I want to decisively handle this political chicanery on the part of the senator, okay, that will build an area of the zinc that costs $50, $70 US. You cannot put on your own horse that what you put on the building. We got to handle that. We got to handle that. I would say this to you.
Ali, he's doing something. What are you doing as a government?
I would say this to you for sure. You see,
the last time I saw you doing something, it was campaign time. The CDC took bundle of money, cash, and you give it to those people, the Zogos, and what they did was they got more drugs. That's what they did. So what are you doing to help?
When you say that, do you know that rehabilitation areas though they are not sufficient? Where some of the street boys are, some as far as Ghana, they build there. Are you aware of that? Okay? Are you aware of that? There are people there who take care of some of them, train them, for example. I know it's a big challenge in our country. Okay? Do you know that some of them are formed doing carpentry work. Even some of the construction work are doing. Some of them working there. Some of them have made changes in their life. Some of them, my friend, I want to say this. I want to be emphatic.
Okay.
You know, and like you said, our campaign time. By the time made a statement at our campaign time, they will take care of the Zogos. He says, what does Baron do for the entire Moriah senator?
On a campaign to put some money in their pocket for vote.
No, a senator, like Sir Joseph, they do not even have the lobbyistic authority. He just came from America after he got the county development 5,000 US. And the accusation against him by party assistant secretary general that he got 20,000 out. That came from America. He ran there for 4 to 5 days. What did he bring for Liberia? What did he bring for Monserrato? As compared to Sir Joseph, who would bring documents and materials to the country and cut across and even going into Guinea. That's a senator. Look, this for you.
Yeah, Mr. Gray, we have to go. You can come back. The platform is here.
The senator, Senator Dillon, is a flop. A serious flop. He told America instead of visiting his constituents locally, the first break when he got his 20,000 US students and medical, everything put together in operation, he ran to America with it and brought nothing back to the country. And brought nothing. The same thing he criticized all along because of going to America, going to Ghana, doing a vacation. Okay, have you read the book called Animal Farm? That means a typical animal farm.
I read that book 2 times, Mr. Gray.
It's a animal farm, roaming the corridor, potentially. A man who said that you in America, that American citizenship, you should not become citizen of Liberia, but you generate money and give it to him to campaign. Those who argue that we want you to be citizen because hate for George Weah, you don't care. Delon is a beneficiary of hate for the administration. Not because they love Delon.
So, Gray, I see that you are energized. I think we have to bring you back. We have to close, sir. Please, 1 minute.
Delon is a product of hate and dissatisfaction of the regime. Not because he's loved, not because he's educated. A man who lied about his education to the public, who did not graduate from Western High School, who got a national exam certificate and went to what a university name in the United States, Astoria University. A man who went there and who was chased out of the school at the end of the day because he falsified things.
Mr. Gray, seems to be you want to debate Delon. Are you willing to debate Delon?
I want to debate him, invite him, talk to him to lecture.
All right. I will get to his chairman here, Emmanuel Yato, for that debate.
The supporters have said to him that should not appear. I will intellectually lynch Delon for the consumption of the political vultures. That's what we do.
All right. Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray, we want to thank you. I see that you are more energized. Maybe we should do that again.
Not only that the man lied in order to declare assets, his medical or constituency break money of 10,000 is not part of his assets. That is a bogus assets declaration. He lied on the oath. This is the guy that, because of hate for George Weah, people parading around here. Come on, man.
Did you declare your asset, Mr. Gray? Did you declare your asset?
I declare my asset to the office of the chief clerk. I didn't put my asset in public. The law says, as a representative, I must declare my assets to the office of the chief.
Why all of you in the CDC howling this thing? The Delon you are accusing, at least he did show it. Why can't you show it for transparency's sake?
The question is that
you are howling beyond the law, Mr. Gray.
I want to say this to you. When you are contesting as a lawmaker, first, when I was contesting in 2011, I declared my assets. It was on the National Elections Commission website. So everyone who contested must have this declaration at the National Elections Commission. In 2017, again, I declared my assets at NEC. I declare my assets at the legislature. There's a protocol, there's a procedure. But the assets that they don't declare, did he put the operational funds money? Have you seen a copy of it? Did he put a constituency break 10,000 United Dollars into it? That perjury. He can be arrested.
We'll make effort to get Senator Acarous Delon to see if he will be willing to debate.
If Delon appear with me on the show, I will be excited. I will give 1 month salary to you for humanitarian purposes. I need Delon, bring Delon for a debate.
Well, I will reach out to him.
The man who signed un check in call a fake. He's fake as fake.
All right. We'll make that effort. Please conclude in 1 minute, Mr. Gray. We have to go.
Even I want to say this to you. We are not perturbed by the distraction. At no point in time I went to the U.S. Embassy for visa and I did that. That's distraction on the part of Heron Costa, Martin, the opposition. They know that I know Costa want to contest as senator. I'm not stopping him. He asked Joseph to contend with. I'm not a target.
He's very popular. Are you worried?
Let him come and clear a name for it because it's a fugitive.
That's a political language.
No, not my political language. And I escape justice or fugitive. Let the public see it.
All right.
Anybody who escaped justice or fugitive and he illegally left Liberia. He illegally left the country. Okay, he's a fugitive.
He's a Liberian and he illegally left his own country, Mr. Gray?
Yes, when you live in a, you pass through the official borders. Boats are being stamped. Nobody, and they told you when you live in America, your boat can be stamped at the borderlands and the countries that you're entering in.
Mr. Gray, you are aware of Acarous. We have Acarous passport now. I can go to Freetown, get anything and go. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
If you have Acarous passport before you enter any country, you go Ghana, you also stamp your passport, you're going by road. Don't argue on that.
Oh, please conclude in 30 seconds, please.
Don't protect anyone who is a fugitive of this country. Okay. But I will say to you, you can post. You can say and agree, depriving visa, and you have no reason. You can post anything about representing agree. You can say what you want to say about the government. I can say to you that 2023 is a first round victory for us.
Because first round victory, Mr. Gray? Yeah. I'm not taking it to your bank. I'm not taking this one to your bank, Mr. Gray.
To come to my bank. I'm not interested in you depositing in my bank.
Because I don't think your bank is solvent.
We won them out of 15 contests by 14. That Joseph Bogai bring it to us to consume. That Alexander Cummings, the people don't know.
Mr. Gray, you want to open another discussion? We can do that tomorrow. We have to close, Mr. Gray.
The party now is saying Alexander Cummings. The ALP is supporting Joseph Bogai. There's a big split. They will never hold. We will beat them like market dogs. That's what we do.
Mr. Gray, please conclude. We have to go.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And I appreciate it. I mean, I love to be in the heat. You know, I told you I love to be in the kitchen.
I see that. I see that. To the end, the fire came out.
Bring Jello, and you'll see what will happen on your show.
Okay,
just bring him.
We'll make effort. I hope we succeed, and we'll have a very good exchange. Again,
you know,
Mr. Gray,
my man and the opposition are very worried.
All right, Mr. Gray, I think I'm going to reach out to you again for us to discuss the CPP.
Yeah,
I will reach out to you again for you and myself to discuss the CPP, your chances as a political party, CDC, versus that of the CPP. Let's see whether or not that would be a very good conversation. Again, thank you so very much.
You can and let debate the issues.
All right.
It's very important. Bring the chairman of the party, to the debate the issues.
All right. Thank you so very much. I like challenge.
Bring the chairman of the Unity Party. We are prepared to slaughter them.
Are you prepared to debate George Lobo? Are you prepared to debate George Lobo?
George is below the belt. For me, when it comes to these things, in fact, no one knows in Liberia. Nobody need George Lobo in Liberia. It's not even political consumption.
He's not a commodity, you said?
No, it's not a leader in a political institution locally for people. No one knows the need George Lobo. Maybe
I believe he's a vice president, vice chairman in the USA for Unity Party, vice chairman for something.
The USA will bring our vice chair in USA to debate it.
All right, Mr. Gray, again, we can thank you so very much.
For giving the opportunity on the platform to debate it, for him to have a debate with a lot. I need a party chairman. I'm the chairman of the executive. The term most important here. So try to bring somebody at my level, not a George Lobo on your platform.
If I gave you ANC secretary, will you take him?
Who is the general ANC?
Mr. Alosha Stowe.
Bring Alosha Stowe. I want you to bring General Alosha versus Acarous. Bring Alosha Stowe, Acarous Delo versus Acarous Gray. I will appear alone.
I'll make that effort.
I want to appear alone with
I will make that effort, Mr. Gray. If I get any success, I will surely get to you again. I want to say thank you.
You can give them 10 minutes and give me 5 minutes.
Mr. Acarous Moses Gray, we want to say thank you. Folks in cyberspace, we want to say thank you so very much. I dearly and sincerely want to apologize that I cannot read your comments. This show was planned this way to go at Acarous Gray on these multiple subjects that we had. I loaded it, and so I wanted to get them off the way so that we can go to something else the next time we have him or somebody else. So thank you. As always, keep your dice set here. I focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Tomorrow is Friday. As always, is the literary hour with Dr. K. Mose Nambe and Jackie Sieh, two of Liberia's most profound scholars, will be here to discuss literature, and you do not want to miss it. Also, folks, we are here. There is a brand new show coming here to focus on Liberia called The Economist and the Professor. This Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time to 5 p.m. You do not want to miss it. Economist Samuel Jackson is the main discussant on The Economist and Professor. We'll call it EMP. Also, Professor Larry Kennedy is the chief presenter of this program, The Economy and the Professor. You do not want to miss it. It will be right here at Focus on Liberia. I might be with them here trying to do Malay. Somebody say, quack, quack, quack. Today, you don't want to miss this one. This one, you do not want to miss it. It's called Tough Talking Thursday. Tough Talking Thursday comes on today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Why are they discussing? The government, the opposition, the people. But there's a statement before that. Where cometh our help? From whence cometh our help? This is a Bible guy who wrote this, Dennis Jah. From whence cometh our help? I repeat, from whence cometh our help? From the government, from the opposition, or from the people in terms of governance? There is a huge disagreement. I might be on the show. I have my own opinion. I know where the problem is, and I know where the help can come from. I will surprise you. You do not want to miss this hot political discussion here today. I focus on Liberia. And also, folks, Sunday, the 9th of May, 2021 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Focus on Liberia will be paying tribute to our mothers. You don't want to miss this program. We will be paying tributes to our mother. I'm thinking I might be on this one. I want to pay tribute to my mother. I want to pay tribute to all mothers, by the way, and you don't want to miss this very, very interesting program here. I focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. And so finally, this is how we will come to the end of this broadcast. And again, we cannot thank you enough for following us here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Mama Liberia. Our song says, we are all Liberians, and that song is taking us home right now. But there's something else I must tell you. Folks, this is important, and so if you were planning to leave, maybe you should stay, okay? Focus on Liberia is broadcasting live in Liberia on Heart FM. All of our programs that you're listening to here are also being aired on Heart FM in Liberia. So the schedule is Wednesday at 11 a.m. GMT. That is 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Then Thursday at 5 p.m. GMT. This is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And also Friday at 11 a.m. GMT and 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Focus on Liberia programs are live on the radio in Liberia on Heart FM 107.9. Thank you so very much. If you like what we do here and you want to contribute, go to our website, www.focusonliberia.net, and contribute. We will definitely appreciate that. On that note, folks, I am saying to you, bye-bye, and enjoy the song that says, we are all Liberians. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians. Liberia is Labira people. Labira.